Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. Traders, welcome. My name is Yaroslav Berchenko. I'm a market analyst at Olymp, and today we have a special webinar. Now, I always say this, but today's webinar is something that every trader needs to know. Every single trader needs to be aware on how to find his own market ideas, where to look for. You need to be confident when you're doing it, and your entire trading process depends on how you pick and then manage your positions. So without further ado, I just wanted to ask you how you guys are doing today in chat, if you guys can hear me and see me, and let's check real quick that you guys did your homework. Is anybody here from last week where I gave a homework assignment, something that you should practice? If you did it, go ahead and write about it in chat. We will talk about it. Mustafa Nuri, hello, welcome. Manzoor Ahmad, welcome. Raju Kumar, hello. Michael Othu and Beast, welcome. And of course, meditation relaxing. I answered your question. Thank you guys and welcome to the webinar. So before we get too far ahead, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. It's very important so that I can share with you new tools, new kind of trade ideas and new approaches to the financial markets. Now, speaking about tools, what kind of tools should you be using? Now, these are the basic, most easiest to understand tools. I have one, the Olymp platform. Two, I have a economic calendar, and I'll teach you guys how to use it real quick during the webinar. And then third of all, we have FinViz. This will help us to understand the inner workings of the US market. So the economic calendar, we'll be using it mainly for trading currency pairs on the Forex platform, and the Olymp platform is where we do all of our business. That's where we calculate our positions, that's where we set our stop losses and take profits, and that's where we basically go down the list of technical analysis. And so I'm going to teach you guys several ways of picking positions, from the easiest, like basic technical analysis, simple sentiment analysis, maybe even some basic investment principles into stocks and currencies, and then we'll go into some very hard techniques like currency evaluation, trading on the news, earnings season, things like that. And then we'll go really deep into like the fundamentals, the nitty-gritty of trading stocks, the nitty-gritty of analyzing really macroeconomic statistics, analyzing geopolitical tensions, analyzing presidential elections, analyzing different armed conflicts in the world. They have a large impact on the financial markets, and after watching this webinar, you'll be able to navigate this sea of chaos and confusion a little better. Okay, so good job on you guys for coming today. I appreciate each and every one of you. I like you too, Manzoor Ahmad. Thank you so much for your kind words. So Prasant Haridas, in 2 words, U.S. companies are allowed to be brokers in the U.S. Non-U.S. companies are not allowed to be brokers in the U.S. I hope that answers it. The U.S. has a very tight financial system, and they don't allow, say, European brokers to offer brokerage services in the U.S., right? They have their own fleet of companies that do this. So the first thing, like I said, we have our tools up there. Those are going to be the analysis tools. And now we want to put on technical analysis tools onto our graph. Now we have the likes of the MACD and CCI. They just show a few different things, and they have a different way of visualizing. You can use any kind of oscillator that you feel is necessary. Also, I have 3 moving averages on my screen. I have the 50 SMA, the 100 SMA, and the 20 SMA. I will be looking at the daily graph, and I will be going through real quick. So this is kind of the first and most basic form of analysis you can have, is set up a graph where within a few seconds you can see what the currency is doing and if there is a good trading opportunity for you to embark in. What we're going to be looking at, like I said, it works best with currencies, so we're going to go down the currencies list right now together. And what it works best with is a nice trending currency. Like you can see the Aussie CAD, it trends up and then it trends down, and you can do a similar kind of analysis. And what you want to be doing, like what you are supposed to be doing during this time, is not only look for positions that you can open right now. right? Trading is a game of patience. Trading is a game of timing. So what you want to be doing is waiting for a position that is in the best place, in the best time. Like right now, actually, for a fact, the Aussie CAD, let's drop down. So once I find a good position, right, we can see that we're going up now we're going down. There's not much room to go down. So, you know, it could be either way, that the stock may, or the currency may reverse against us. So we're dropping down to the 1 hour graph and seeing what the situation really is like. Okay, so we do have this kind of this big candle down indicates that there are some big players, but as we can see, the currency price is continuously getting lower. Yes, this low was lower than this one. Then we had this attempt to break even lower, but we have the likes of the CCI going up. Now, what does that mean? That means that there is internal when you have something that is falling, usually it falls with an increase of velocity, right? The speed increases, the momentum increases, the volatility increases. But if we're falling and the volatility decreases, that's when the oscillators start going in the other direction. That means that initial push, it ran out of steam. Now, I want to show you a good example. I will be actually doing the trading view. I just wanted to show you, because we don't have the Russian ruble as a currency on the platform, it is available on this platform, and I use the same indicators, the same oscillators, just to show you something. So you can see the Russian ruble has been strengthening substantially after the war, and we have the likes of the CCI. This is what I wanted to show you guys. We have the likes of the CCI making lower lows. So after the initial impulse, right, this was a big shock, but now we have the currency falling and the likes of the CCI also falling. So this would be a confirmation, this would be a convergence where the oscillator actually goes in favor of the decline, and usually this is a signal that you see the volatility is there, the size of the candle, the impulse, the velocity is high. So that's why if you're looking to trade, if we were to say, all right, let's try to sell the Aussie CAD, well, we would want the CCI to confirm that, hey, we're going down. So let's continue down our list. As I just look for opportunities, you'll be able to understand what the thought process is and what we're looking for. We're looking for a very easy trade to take. We're looking for a currency that is, so the Japanese yen was actually one of these crosses. As you can see, when the Japanese yen started growing against all, or excuse me, started losing its position against all other currencies, this was a trend that you could easily find. This was something that you can easily see. And on FinViz, there's actually a little life hack I wanted to show you here. If you click on the Forex platform, the FinViz platform actually gives you an understanding of the Japanese yen is the strongest currency today, while the British pound is the weakest currency today. So we can actually go to our platform, type in pound yen, and take a look at where exactly this currency pair is within their within the dynamics of their price value. So this graph to me is very choppy. I had some experience in 2018 trading the pound yen, and it was really choppy. It was really difficult to get in and get out. So let's continue back down our list. I wanted to show you some examples of some good currencies that you would like to trade. The Aussie New Zealand dollar, for example. This currency trends for a really long time, and you want to find where the volatility is like this, but you can see there are several areas where the volatility stays within one deviation of the Bollinger Bands indicator. And so if you see that a currency is trading like this, it may be a good idea to open up a trade in the you want to have the maximum stop loss you can use, and trade, of course, little positions, because the money that you make is not going to be from an impulse, it's going to be from a trend. So when you're looking for an entry point into the Forex market, again, keep in mind we're using the Forex platform. Trading the FTT platform takes a little bit of a different kind of skill set. But we're just quickly, the purpose of this webinar is to teach you. So I just sat down. I just woke up, brushed my teeth, rubbed my eyes. I just sat down to the platform, and what am I doing? What am I doing? The first thing I'm doing is, and you also want to pay attention to different signals right here. So this is a break of the trend. And what do I mean by that is this. So this is what I would be doing first thing in the morning if I made my money solely from the stock market, from the financial markets. I would be looking at my graphs at around this pace. Somewhere around this, maybe I would Google something and then go back. And I'll teach you more about fundamental analysis closer to the end of the webinar. It just takes a little bit more practice to get used to that. So we're just basically going through the currency pairs, looking for any kind of flat trend. We want a flat, unvolatile trend. I showed you guys the Russian ruble, right? This is something that we're looking for. I don't think that we have it in the major pairs, but that's what you really want to concentrate on, is different major pairs. And if it so happens that a cross currency also has a flat, stable trend, then maybe that's something that you want to take. Now, the euro, the European Union, is shifting their monetary policy. What impacts the currency market most of all? The most important thing is what their central bank does. Like, it's the central bank of Russia that has caused this to happen. They gave a mandate to the government to force businesses to transfer 80% of all of their international currency into rubles. And so this multi-billion-dollar a day conversion is what's causing the ruble to get stronger. So with the European Union, remember, the European Union, Swiss National Bank, and the Bank of Japan, they were the three ultra hawkish banks. They were not looking to raise interest rates. They were not saying they were going to. They were saying that, you know, the inflation is temporary. We'll get through this. And now, in the last publication of the last meeting minutes, the European Central Bank said we are going to raise rates. And they're starting to raise rates. June 6th is the next interest rate decision meeting. And so the markets are pricing in European dollar or euro currency strength in the near term. So that's why we're looking for some sort of, and we can look back at our chart and see that, the European currencies, the franc and the euro, they are getting stronger. And like I said, we have the likes of the Aussie, New Zealand, and pound getting weaker against the other currencies. So this is against the US dollar, by the way, so that you understand. But if they're showing weakness, right, if we have the US dollar just as a basis, a basic point of analysis, then we'll understand that against other currencies, it may be strong or weak as well. So the Euro NZD, let's drop down to a lower time frame to see if there's anything really substantial that we can make out. This looks like a really strong trend, right? We broke through this kind of downward momentum here. And so where do we have really good entry points? Well, you can draw your own trend line from the bottoms, just connecting the bottoms, and anytime we get close to touching that, it would be a good idea to buy. So maybe wait for the currency to drop down here. And I didn't finish this, but one of your main assignments right now is to write down, right? You want to have a trading notebook where you write down all of your financial assets that you're going to be looking at throughout the day. This process that I show you, you can continue, you can do it 2, 3, 5, 10 times during the day, and each time you can make your list of tradable assets shorter, shorter, and shorter. The reason why we started this form of analysis first is because it's easy. Once you get a hang of the indicators, once you get a hang of your trading strategy, all you need to do then is monitor the list of assets as I'm doing right now. Now, what we're going to do is continue on a little bit later, or we're going to continue on to the next part because we are slowing down, and my main trade ideas, I didn't find any good assets to trade, so let's go on to another asset. So simple sentiment analysis. What do I mean by sentiment? Let's go over to the fixed time trade platform, and we have the likes of the basic dollar index, and then I'm also going to add another graph, and this is going to be the US dollar, S&P 500, which is the US index. Again, I'm going to put those onto 1 day. The reason why I use 1 day graphs is because it's easier for me to see. I can see from really far of what's going on. So remember, the basic dollar index, mostly it's the Euro USD cross currency pair, about 40 to 60%. It varies depending on how much business the US has with Europe, but the basic dollar index shows you, the strength of the US dollar against 7 other currencies. And so we can see that the US dollar was in a fantastic uptrend, very, very very, very tight trend. And that's what we're looking for. Remember I told you when you're looking down the list of assets, that's what you want to be looking for. And so the US dollar, you could have anywhere between April, from the start of April to the end of April, if you were doing what I taught you, looking at the list of assets, looking for a good trending asset, in any of those weeks, you could have opened up a buy position. It would have made you money. So we're looking for the same thing in, what do we have in the S&P 500? So we have a similar situation of where the market is very tightly going down. We have this kind of tight channel, tight corridor. And that means that the US markets are pessimistic right now. They're bullish. And this is a multi-month trend line. Have a look at this. All of April, we were bearish. All of May, we were bearish. And we're getting into the start of June, and we're somewhere around the middle, and we're already going lower. We're already starting to go down. So what does this mean for us? That's all we wanted to see from the S&P 500. What we want to do now is open up the stocks. So we're looking at the different stocks and we're trying to see if there's something that we can trade. What are we looking for? We're looking for a stock that is in a downward dynamic, in a bearish decline. We want it to come up either to the top, either to the middle Bollinger Bands line or the top Bollinger Bands line, if that's possible. That's usually a good indication. We saw that the US market was bearish, so it's going to be extra hard. And you want to pick a company that has been beat up, that has been going, crazy, but pointed down. Those are going to be the best entry points at the top of that downward channel. So just going down our list, having a look at all the assets. If it's a crazy graph like this, just pay it no attention. It's too volatile, too unpredictable. Even if we do, the reason behind what I say is, if you put a stop loss, where do you think it'll be? The maximum your stop loss is, and you can actually check it what it is by clicking the little eye icon. It'll open up the assets menu for you. You can actually check what your maximum, trading conditions, what your maximum stop loss is. Actually, where is it? There is no stop loss in the yeah. So you do get to use the stop loss when using the Forex platform. Trading on the stock platform, you actually don't use the asset because you buy and hold, right? So this is a buy and hold. Another thing is that you don't get a multiplier. So maybe we'll go to the Forex platform and have a look at our stocks here. Back to, say, Amazon. I just wanted to show you where you can find those trading conditions, where you can find that trading information. So again, trading conditions right here, maximum, minimum, stop loss, and take profit value. So this is the minimum, right? You need to move 5% from your entry point. And this is the maximum. Your stop out is the maximum stop loss you can have is 50%. So keep that in mind, right? If price goes against you and you're using a multiplier of, say, again, you can find the multiplier in the window right here. Trading conditions, maximum multiplier right here. You want to multiply whatever the price change will be by 20. So it'll be actually quite easy to, I used to have a ruler right here, but I turned that off. But you want to plan for your stop loss not being hit. So if you're looking for an asset to trade, you want something that's slow, swooping down, that'll give you an opportunity to save your money in case there's a stop loss. So something like this would be something that we're looking for. This is a daily graph, 3M company. They're a chemical company in the United States. Alibaba actually is one of the, now I recently read Goldman Sachs was looking to upgrade some Chinese companies, but I don't buy it. I think that Alibaba and Baidu, they have a lot more room to go. Baidu, perfect. Guys, have a look at this, Baidu. So this is going to be a company come in about 25 minutes, I'll be able to open up a trade to sell here. So Baidu, I'm going to be shorting Baidu later on. And this is what you're doing. When you're looking for trade ideas, you're making yourself a short list. So the next time you come back, you don't have to look through the entire list of assets. You already know what you want to trade. And when you're trading things like stocks, you want to be there at the beginning. You want to be there at the start of the market open, and you want to see what the initial impulse is. Is it a big impulse up and then it slowly goes down? Is it a big impulse down and then it continues down? Does it open flat and kind of go volatile both ways? All of that holds really important information, and the more experience you have when trading these kind of assets, obviously the better you will do. I recommend always go with the demo account first and then continue into live trading once you stably make money. Guys, we're gonna move on because this next topic fits in perfectly with what we've been talking about, stocks. I want to talk to you a little bit about investing, right? Trading doesn't always have to be stressful. It doesn't always have to be short term. We have the stocks category here for a reason. It allows you to buy into a company and kind of stay there. So when we're trading this kind of, so AstraZeneca is a pharmaceutical company. Pharmaceutical companies have been doing really well lately because of the coronavirus pandemic and because of just healthcare being very expensive in general. Pharmaceutical companies have been doing especially well, and so just like Warren Buffett recommends buying into pharmaceuticals, I also myself have been looking at buying into pharmaceuticals. And so here we have AstraZeneca at 1063. So when you're looking at this kind of list, again, the thing that you're looking for is any kind of upward momentum that looks stable, that looks impressive, that looks really good. And of course, you want to catch it in the first kind of the first time that it starts to grow. And in order to get that vital information, once you created your short list, so unfortunately, I won't be able to go through the entire process of what you have to do during this step, and it has something to do with fundamental analysis. So if you guys would like to learn more, I'll give you guys a link to a video about the earnings season, about the different ratios and analyzing stocks more deeply, and we'll also talk about how you can trade currency on the news. I'll give you guys a video link for that. But right now, going through, so Bayer is another pharmaceutical company. We can see that 2 weeks ago there was this major growth period. AstraZeneca especially has been doing really well. Excuse me, not AstraZeneca, Barclays, I just saw that they were doing really well. So just going down the list to see if there's anything impressive, anything special that we can have a look at, and then you take that name, you take that brand, and you research it. You type into Google, you type it into FinViz. Actually, FinViz is the tool that I wanted to show you guys. So HSBC is another bank. It appears like the banking sector has been doing impressively well. Keep in mind that in the stocks platform, all you can do is buy. So you want to make sure that you target a stock that is already showing upwards momentum. You don't want to be targeting a stock like this. You want the stock to break previous highs. Let's go back to HSBC. You want the stock to break previous highs. So you can see right here, this big candle broke the previous highs. You want your oscillators to also give you bullish momentum. So we have the CCI breaking 100. This top level right here is 100. And then we also have the MACD flipping over to the positive side of 1 right here, which is fantastic. So airplane companies, airliners are probably going to be doing worse as we have the world becoming more and more isolationist. Something to keep in mind for the near future. By the way, for all of our Indian traders, we have 3 new Indian indices that we added. They also hold a ton of value, a ton of possibility in them for you. So we're going to go through them right now just to see if there's anything amazing going on. And so we have the likes of the Munch Index, Mahajantar, some upward dynamics right here, guys. Ooh, this looks interesting and promising. And so this is kind of like a for fun index, the astrological index, but also something that you could take advantage of. Actually, it looks very similar to the Mahajantar. Okay, going back to our list of stocks. So those are the only ones that were open, and then here are the US stocks that are going to be open in about 10 minutes. I would And because, so I just wanted to say that investing is also a very profitable way of trading, but you want to target a time period, not like we have right now. We have the stock market falling. Remember, we started the webinar by looking at sentiment, and we have the likes of the S&P 500 consistently falling. So looking at a market where everything is consistently falling would be incorrect. A better thing to do would go on this Forex platform and then open up stocks. Here you can short stocks. And so again, the stock that I chose for myself that I will be opening was Baidu, and I would be opening up Baidu to the downside. Baidu is basically the Google of China. It's a search engine, it's a social media platform, it's kind of everything in one. They have a payment system. So Baidu is actually a very, very strong company, but I just wanted to outline the massive bearish trend that it has been in, and the fact that we're right at the top over here. We saw a decrease in momentum. This doji candle showed us that we were uncertain. Then the following day was also a doji candle, so perhaps when the market opens, I'll wait for a little bit, see what price action does, and then as soon as I have a big candle like this or this or this or even this as confirmation, then you know when you see big candles like this, that it's the start of something, you know, that will go lower. And with the Forex platform, you don't have to sit for several days or weeks like you would have to with the investing with the stocks platform. All you have to do is put a large multiplier and 1 to 2 to 3 sessions, days max. That's all you want. You just want 3 days maximum of a really good multiplier. You know, 50 to 60% profit is great. And then you want to stay dedicated. You want to continue this process. Let me check how much time we have. All right, we're coming up to the end of the webinar. I did want to get, so that was the easy part, guys. That was very, the easy kind of not too much work part. I want to remind you to subscribe to the channel right now, because right now we are going to go into a more difficult trading practices, more time consuming and more thought-provoking trading practices. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos and webinars just like this, and it really helps to promote the channel. If you guys subscribe and like the videos, then that helps more people to see good information, right? There's a lot of charlatans, a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about, and I want to help newer traders become better and save as much money as possible. So next we're going on to currency valuations. I'm going to teach you guys how to use the economic calendar. So we saw the Japanese yen, and this changes in real time, by the way, just so you know. So we're looking perhaps at the Japanese yen. Perhaps that's a good currency to trade, and the Canadian dollar. If we're comparing a export, they're actually two export economies, so that may not be the best, but I know that the Canadian dollar has been really strong lately. I haven't seen the last few weeks of movement for the Canadian dollar, but let's go ahead and analyze that right now. So what you do, you never want to look at all of the countries. That blows your mind. You want to click clear right here, and you want to just pick the ones that are good for you. So we have the Canadian dollar, and then we're going to have the likes of the Japanese yen. So right here, Japan. That's it. I'm only interested in 3-star events. If you get more better at this, then you can pick 2, but we're going to be looking at, and selecting all is also a good idea. We want to click apply, selecting all for all the categories, so it's witnessing what that's happening, and then we want to pick the entire month. So we start with this month, and then we go to the end of the month. Excuse me, start with the first, and so we can see at the start of the month, massive Japanese holidays, right? Nothing's going on, massive Japanese holidays, and then employment. Ooh, so less people are getting employed in Canada. PMI is the Purchasing Managers Index, and that just shows how much new purchases are coming into the country. Now remember, Canada is a producer, right? They produce a lot of not only commodities, but a lot of goods as well. And so the fact that the purchasing managers are buying more stuff, buying more resources to create goods with, that's good. That's a good indication. So less jobs, but more productivity is kind of good for the company, or it's kind of good for the country. And that's what you want to approach when you're studying currencies. You want to approach the asset as 2 companies. And that's why I left currencies for a little bit later, because when you're analyzing companies, right, you have one company, you have, you know, one economy, and then you have one sector that it belongs to. When you're trading currencies, you have 2 companies, you have two economies, you have multiple sectors of what that economy participates in. So what we're looking at right now is something much more difficult, and you always want to look at both sides. When you create a mental image in your mind like, I understand what's happening in Canada right now, have a look at this. We don't understand what's happening in Japan. Over the last month and over the next 2 weeks that we have no idea of what's happening in Japan. So perhaps it would be even best to take a look at 2 months of data. And you can do that with the investing platform. That's why I wanted to. I really recommend using trading economics because the data there is more reliable. It comes out quicker if you're trading the news. And we'll cover that next. The next topic is news trading. And so, but I just wanted to get a bit of a broader understanding of what is happening. So the Bank of Canada raised interest rates in April 13. Okay, that's going to make the currency grow. We have, again, employment not reaching previous levels. So employment growth is dropping significantly, right? Less people are getting jobs. Less people are entering the workforce. We have IVPMI, just like we saw last time. It was much better. This month, what we saw in May was worse than what we saw in April. All right. And then we have, and what Japan exports, Japan does not export commodities, Japan exports good, added value goods, right? They really produce high-tech, good quality products. And so looking at their manufacturing index is a really good idea. Now, one other thing you guys should always be doing is when you're looking at all of these 3-star things, you want to dive a little bit deeper. You want to dive in and see what is actually happening, like what the historical graph looks like. And so we'll just give it a little bit of time. So in the start of the 2020s, we saw, or actually all through 2020, we saw very, very poor performance from their manufacturing. And just lately, manufacturing has been growing. And we see a tendency to decline, right? Each month since last year, September, each quarter, is getting progressively worse. Now, historically, we are around the middle of what it could be, actually towards the higher end. So historically, actually, we're doing better than what normally we would see from this index. So very interesting. You want to be doing that. You want to be dropping down a level lower or a level deeper so you have a better understanding of what the economy is actually like. And that is what makes the currency. Their exports, when they export that, they receive international currency that then they change into their national currency. Now, Japanese companies have not been doing this for some time, but in theory, if they do that, then that will strengthen the currency significantly. Same thing with Canada. Any kind of index that shows their export level is very important because the more Canada exports, the stronger their national currency will be. All right, so Bank of Japan, they have left interest rates flat as far as I remember. So Bank of Japan, yep, still at 0.10. So this is actually a quick chart that gives you at a glance all of the interest rates for the different companies, which again is very important. So this is in a way how to analyze currencies. You want to use indicators. So when you find a currency pair you want to trade, you want to use indicators. You want to have a look at the economic statistics for the last month, the last 2 months. And you want to first concentrate your time on the majors. The majors are European euro, US dollar, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, New Zealand dollar, and I'm probably missing somebody, Swiss franc. So those are the majors. You want to be focusing most of your attention on them because they have all these statistics. They have more information that you can kind of understand, and the reporting that happens in those countries is predominantly transparent. You will be able to understand everything that is being translated to you, and you can understand it. Now, news trading. This ties us perfectly into the next topic. I'm running out of time, you guys, so I'm trying to make it as quick as possible. News trading is something that you can keep track of as well. It fits in perfectly with this form of trading. I'm actually going to outline some of the other countries in the G7 as well. Eurozone. You can, when you're looking at the Eurozone, you can include Germany, France, and Spain. And Italy. Those are the powerhouses of the European Union. I like to just keep Eurozone and Germany, so I don't so I don't get confused, as there is going to be a lot on my screen. Let's go on and put on the United Kingdoms and the United States and leave it at that. I just want to show you guys that there are trading opportunities for later this week. So right now we're at Tuesday, May 24th. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech later on in the day. And then we had so news trading is something that can be done if you're waiting for these events to come out in the future. All 3-star events are, they all impact the currency, but they're not all the same. Right. Number one of impact, we have interest rate decision meetings. You want to learn to watching those because they can change on the drop of a hat. There were many times where the Bank of Canada surprised traders with a surprise shift. Bank of Australia, Reserve Bank of Australia, surprise shift in monetary policy. Swiss National Bank, these guys are the worst. They do the worst surprises and cause massive chaos in the markets. So if you're watching their interest rate decision meetings, you can actually participate and watch. On one screen you have the graph, or maybe on one half of the screen you have the graph, and on the other side you're listening to what the president of the bank is saying, and that gives you an opportunity to change, and you can actually physically see changes in the volatility. Another one is non-farm payrolls. So for those of you that are new to trading, in the US, every first Friday of the month, we have the US non-farm payrolls. That is also a massive statistic. 10 years ago, that used to be called the trader's payday because the trading was so simple, right? The news would come out. If there's way too few jobs, the US dollar would fall. If there was a really abundant, massive amount of jobs, the US dollar would rise. So something very simple like that. But out of what we have for the rest of the month, let me see if there's something that we can. US GDP is probably the most important, excuse me, not month, but week. So on Thursday, we have US GDP data coming out for the quarter. It's super important. It's really important. It impacts the US dollar. And as we saw on the right here, the basic dollar index, the US dollar is really slooping down. So when we have such a critical level like this right here, you guys see that we're really pushing up against a level of support. When we have this kind of level of support, and some major news comes out, it can do a lot to push the price over the edge and into the abyss, or it can do a lot to really keep the price up and even push it up higher. So that would be the news, the event that I would watch. Now, what do you do in this regard? So if you're trading the news and you wake up, right, you brush your teeth, wipe your glasses, you go to trade the financial markets, and you think to yourself, today I'm going to be trading the news. So you want to do is you want to open up the historic graph of what the news has been. You want to record when these dates are. So right here, release date, May 26th, April 28th. What that means is that you go on your graph right here, you find April 28th. So we have 17th right here. Oops. April 28th right here. We had, what was it? So on the 28th of April, we had a pessimistic, actually a negative reading for the US GDP. So US GDP declined, and that's when the shift happened. That's when we saw the first kind of teeter of this massive, super strong bullish movement. And then the next one we had on the 13th. Let's see what happened on the 13th. I don't have my month-long open, but the GDP, like I said, you can check out the different statistics and how the US dollar shifted, how it changed when all of these readings came out. And so we have a forecast for this upcoming Thursday of minus 1.3. If it does come out to a massive minus such as that, it could be enough to push the currency as low as here. This next level that I'm outlining for you guys here is a really strong level. Not only is it the bottom of the not only is it the top of the previous highs, the level of resistance that we had, it's also where we have the 50 SMA. So this is a really strong level that if the US dollar does fall, it would likely fall to this level. All right, guys, we're wrapping up the webinar. I don't have enough time to go into earnings season. What I will do is in the comments section below, I will write to you the video that you can watch because it was just recent. You can type in our channel. If you go to our channel, let me just show you how to do that. Right here. So if you just go to our channel and you type in right here, earnings season. Right here, are you preparing for earnings season? So this video, I just recently, let me go ahead and copy that for you guys. And actually, YouTube and our YouTube channel is one of the really strong tools that you can use. Come on. So besides investing.com, finviz.com, olymptrade.com, you can also use the YouTube channel right here, the Olymptrade Global, as a way of getting additional information. So guys, I'm going to pin it in chat right now. You can have a look at the earnings season video. It's going to be at the top of the chat channel. Also, I didn't talk about this, but it's equally important, is insights. When you guys get really, really good at trading, you can use these insights. And even if you're bad at trading, to get really, really good, you can check out these insights. We have a stable of international financial analysts constantly looking for trade ideas, constantly looking for, and you also see all the videos that are going on live right now. So this insights category, once again, you click help, you go to insights, and this is one of the most important trading tools you can use, but it really takes a little bit of thinking. You need to read and understand what you're reading, open up the graph, follow along, and then make your own decision. And so basically, in a nutshell, guys, this is how hedge funds, investment funds, pension companies, pension funds, this is how they all look for trade ideas. If they're not using algorithms, they're using analysts like myself, like yourself, and it's people just like us, just like we were doing today, that are looking for these trade ideas every single day. Your trade result will equal to the amount of time and effort that you put in to looking and refining your craft. I want to remind you guys, and I want to ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's super important for us so that we can stay into contact with like-minded traders like yourself, so that we can all be a community, a functioning, mutually beneficial community, help each other with trade ideas, with knowledge, and you guys have the opportunity to write what kind of things you may want to see in the near future. So, like I said, this is exactly how professional analysts look for their trade ideas. They may have some, really elite tools, like instead of investing.com, they use some sort of brand, maybe like Bloomberg, to do their financial homework. But we all have that information available to us, not for free, but available to us in the world as well. Like you can read any kind of news that you choose to look for or buy. But develop your own routine. Everything that I taught you here is kind of some things that I use, not every day, but at certain periods of certain economic events. I do these steps, but you should develop your own trading routine, something that you do every time whenever you're trading currencies, something that you do every time when you sit at your computer or at your telephone and have a look at the financial markets. All right, you guys, that's it for today. I wanted to thank you so much for coming today. My name is Yaroslav Burchenko. It has been a pleasure to share this information with you. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Go ahead and subscribe to our other social media if you haven't done already. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page. All that information is readily available for you. Go ahead and search that on Google. But other than that, thank you all so much for your time. It's been a pleasure together with Olymp Trade. We wish you guys good luck trading out there, and see you all next week. Peace.